All right, it is time. This is Infinite Investment Game. I talk about alternative investments and collectibles, and I'm going to continue on to sports cards. And before I go on, please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this with as many people as possible. Just trying to grow the channel. And I think this is really, 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 really important. What I'm going to be talking about is increased print runs over the years could affect the value of past products. And I think a lot of people are making a lot of assumptions. I think Panini Prizm could be a mainstay in the hobby. Just the issue that I have, though, just because Panini Prizm for basketball, and you can argue football as well, has been around for going to be around for about 10 years at least, about 10 years, and people may want first year Prizm stuff, first year Prizm soccer, the parallels and the serial number stuff. Serve first year Panini Prizm 2012 football and basketball. Don't quote me on football. People probably don't want the Prizm baseball because it's not licensed. But for all this stuff to really have value, people are hoping that Fanatics buys out Panini, which could happen. And, this video could drop after the announcement, but Panini could get bought out by Fanatics. Would be great for people who are investing in Prizm and investing in first year Prizm product. However, you could be very disappointed because they could two things. One, they could not buy them out and maybe just buy out Upper Deck and make cards and products for Upper Deck and also for Topps Chrome. That's more iconic, especially for basketball and football type stuff, especially for people who are more baby boomers and I think Gen X and millennials. So you do have that. That could be an issue. They could buy them, but not really release much Panini Prizm. If you already have Topps Chrome, and then you have maybe high-end Upper Deck, and maybe Panini Prizm isn't a thing, but they do like National Treasures, Immaculate, Flawless still. Those are things to think about. They may not make Prizm, and people in the future may not know that much about Prizm. The other thing that they could do that could hurt Prizm is overprinting, buying out Prizm, overprinting the supply of Prizm just because they're trying to get it to everybody. So they're going to overprint stuff. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be made. And you could see certain things like, probably the early 2000s where they're just overprinting products and a lot of people left the hobby. So that could be a thing too that people should be watching. You overprint it, people kind of get a bad taste in their mouth and they just kind of abandon the entire product because they just see it as a company using it as a money grab instead of something for the collector or even investors. In a sense, it becomes uninvestable. We've seen this happen with Select, where they're overprinting Select, and then they have used to be hobby only, but now it's in retail, which I think has plummeted the prices of past sets of Select as well. They're less desirable. I think 2013 is still kind of useful just because you have Giannis and it's still low pop. And then 2012 Select won't be that valuable unless you have like refractor PSA 10s or some kind of like colored parallel for the top stars, I think. And specifically the top stars for rookies. Outside of that, I don't really see how that stuff would catch on. Same with Prizm for WWE, Prizm for UFC, all this other stuff. That stuff may not be popular. People could say, "Oh, that's just junk," and people move on to other sets or other things. And I think that's something that people are assuming that's going to happen. They assume that Fanatics is going to buy out Panini, and they assume that Panini Prizm is going to continue on when the other and even if Panini Prizm continues, what happens to Optic and also what happens to Select, right? Especially if you already have Topps Chrome. You have Topps Chrome for football and basketball and baseball. Why do you need to have another mid-tier product when you can just stay on the Topps Chrome, which in my opinion is more iconic? But I think that's something that people need to understand as well, that these companies are trying to make money. And if there's a lot more demand in the sports card market and people are getting sealed wax and they think that's an investment, they're going to print way more because that stuff is going to sell out and people are going to hoard it in their closets. Even if it goes down, they think, oh, well, if somebody pops in a draft class, it's going to go way up. And a lot of people are going to be hoarding a lot of cardboard. But I'm just worried that most of that stuff, especially modern hobby boxes, won't be worth much for most. Because even with breakers, there's so many people who are hoarding a bunch of cardboard and sealed boxes in their closet. And I think there's a lot of newer stuff out there that people aren't, they're just not really thinking about. If everybody thinks sealed wax is an investment, it's probably not an investment. One of the things that makes 1986 Fleer, for example, so valuable is people thought it wasn't that great, you know. And maybe same thing for 2009 Topps UFC Round 1. People may feel like, it's not really worth anything, and ends up being worth something 10, 20 years down the line. You could probably say the thing about a lot of soccer cards. A lot of soccer cards, nobody thought they'd be worth anything or much of anything, and people are buying soccer. Same for baseball. I'm pretty sure there are certain sets that came out. I mean, even look at vintage stuff. Not many people thought that Jackie Robinson cards would be worth that much, or Hank Aaron. You know, maybe by Hank Aaron's time, people were kind of thinking, oh, maybe his cards would be worth something. But yeah, let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? And please like, comment, and subscribe. And peace.